I don't know about you guys, but I'm freaking ready for the regular season. I'm NFL Predictor 316. I'm back. NFL is back. Whew! Can't wait for it. Starts off tomorrow. Now, lots happened in the off season and preseason this year. A lot of injuries, it seems. A lot more than normally, especially to key players. I don't know what's going on, conditioning or what, but kind of sad, honestly. But we'll see what's in store for this season. Also, this year, I've finally given in and I joined a league for fantasy football. As many of you have, I'm sure, been playing for years and years. I'm finally trying it out, and I'll incorporate that into more of my videos as well. Anyways, a lot's been covered on off-season and preseason already, so I'm just going to jump right into my predictions. So, to kick it off, the season for 2013 be in Denver, Colorado, as the Denver Broncos host the Baltimore Ravens, as this is a matchup of a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. So will the magic continue for the Ravens, or will the Broncos prove finally that this is their year to win it all? Now, the Ravens have had to replace a lot of players from their Super Bowl roster. And the Broncos have had a lot of injuries on their offensive line, as well as missing two of their best defensive players. One of them, Elvis Dumervil, was lost to the Baltimore Ravens. And Von Miller's been lost for 6 games due to a suspension. So the Broncos defense, I believe, will suffer from this. You won't see as many turnovers nor sacks, which in this game is critical. So even with Peyton Manning, they should still be in this game. I will have the Ravens winning this game 30-26. Now next, in Ralph Wilson Stadium will be the hometown Buffalo Bills hosting the New England Patriots. Now many believe that the Bills were going to start undrafted rookie Jeff Tuel. Now their coach has now today stated that it will be E.J. Manuel, who is also a rookie. Both are better than Kevin Kolb, it seems. He's not looking good this preseason, so fortunately for Bills fans, they will have E.J. Manuel suit up. Unfortunately for Bills fans, they're going up against Tom Brady. And yes, he doesn't have Aaron Hernandez and perhaps Rob Gronkowski. I mean, he's still recovering from 4 surgeries he's had this offseason, but it doesn't matter. Tom Brady can make do with any wide receiver, so Bills fans, I'm sorry. I believe the Patriots will handily control this game 34-17. Now heading to Heinz Field, as the Pittsburgh Steelers will host the Tennessee Titans. Both teams had relatively quiet off seasons. Luckily, the Steelers still have Big Ben Roethlisberger, but unfortunately for Roethlisberger, they kept Todd Haley as offensive coordinator. They've bumped heads, they've argued publicly, and also they've lost home run threat Mike Wallace. But I believe the Steelers will go back to their ground and pound and play to the strengths of Big Ben with his play action pass. Now the Titans, they have Chris Johnson, who's looking like he may rebound to his past form. Now, will he get 2,000 yards this season? I don't think so. And I really doubt that he will get 100 yards in this game, as the Steelers have a very strong defense still. I give the edge to the Steelers 24-17. Now, we have the Seattle Seahawks making a long trip out east to take on the Carolina Panthers. Now, will that travel slow down a powerful Seahawks team? I doubt it, as both teams have great linebackers on defense, but the Seahawks, I feel, have better depth defensively, as well as Russell Wilson showing himself as a better proven leader in just 1 year compared to an athletic Cam Newton in 2 years. With all that said, I have the Seahawks winning this game 38-27. Now we have a very close and interesting matchup next as the Cincinnati Bengals travel to Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears. Both teams have amazing defenses that can stop the run, pressure the quarterback, keep their teams in a game. Now I feel the edge goes to the Bengals as they have a very great defensive line, perhaps the best in the NFL, which poses a problem for Chicago since they have an unproven offensive line. Now Jay Cutler should be pressured a lot unless he gets the ball out very quick to like Matt Forte or Brandon Marshall, but I'm still giving the edge to Andy Dalton and AJ Green as they will be too much for the Bears to handle. Bengals win 34-26. Next we have two teams with second-year quarterbacks needing to prove themselves in this game, with the Miami Dolphins traveling to the Cleveland Browns. No better way for them to prove themselves than to start off the season with a win. Now, the Browns have been very impressive in the preseason, and the Dolphins have not. But both teams have good, underrated defenses, and this should be a very low-scoring game, with the Browns pulling off the victory 20-13. Now, next we have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Detroit Lions. And it's a divisional game. Detroit has a lot to prove on offense, especially since they've been missing Calvin Johnson, but he might be back. Without him, Matt Stafford has not looked good. The defensive line for the Lions has been dominant, which I believe will slow down Adrian Peterson, and leaving Christian Ponder to prove himself against a weak Lions secondary. I see a lot of play action working in the favor of the Vikings, with Megatron being contained in this game if he plays. Vikings should win 23-17. Alright, we got the Oakland Raiders heading to play the Indianapolis Colts. The Raiders appear to have their starting quarterback in Terrell Pryor. They got Darren McFadden finding himself back in a regular blocking man scheme, not a zone scheme, which he did not thrive in. But the wide receiver situation for the Raiders, it looks very bleak. The Colts, however, should be rolling on every cylinder, with the run game as well as the passing game being orchestrated to perfection by Andrew Luck. The game won't be a blowout, but the Raiders shouldn't stand a chance, as I have the score of 31-16 in favor of the Colts. Next, we have a matchup of two of the very worst teams last year at 2-14, as the Kansas City Chiefs head out east to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, many question marks for both teams, but the Chiefs seem to have answered their questions better this offseason by hiring Andy Reid and also acquiring Alex Smith. I believe the Jaguars will be without Justin Blackmon, and even with Maurice Jones-Drew, I do not believe it will be enough on offense to contend with a great showing by the Chiefs, looking to start off the season on a strong note. I have them winning 30-17. Next matchup is perhaps the game of the week. We've got the Atlanta Falcons heading out to the Metrodome to take on the New Orleans Saints. Now, it's been very tight and evenly matched throughout, every game the past few years. Both teams have great quarterbacks with Matt Ryan and Drew Brees. They both have excellent weapons. Drew Brees has an array of wide receivers along with Jimmy Graham. And, of course, Matt Ryan has Julio Jones and Roddy White and Tony Gonzalez. So they should be well there. And also adding Steven Jackson should allow for the Falcons to have slow, methodical drives to control the clock. And the Falcons should win this tight contest 38-33. Next match should be the Tampa Bay Bucks taking on the New York Jets. Now this poses the storyline of Darrelle Revis returning to Meadowlands to take on his old team. Now the Jets have been drama-filled for a few years now. They have several issues at quarterback. Mark Sanchez is out to week 3, so they're going to go with Geno Smith. Heck, I believe Geno Smith's a better option even with a healthy Sanchez. Tampa Bay has stacked its defense big time this offseason. And why not? They're in a division with Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, Cam Newton, so they need a very good defense, especially secondary, since they allowed the most passing yards a year ago. I have the Bucs winning this game easily, 34-13. Now the next matchup is the other game of the week. Green Bay Packers taking on the San Francisco 49ers. These two teams met in a wonderful playoff match which showed off the talents of Colin Kaepernick. So he ran wild all over the Packers. Now the Packers, I am sure, have studied that game film, and they have a defense in store for him. Unfortunately, the 49ers have been hit hard on their wide receiver core. So I believe that will be the key in this matchup, as the 49ers will not be able to keep up with the Packers. I got it 24-17 for the Pack. Alright, we got the next game, Arizona Cardinals and the St. Louis Rams. They're both very overlooked teams in a stacked NFC West. The Cardinals finally picked up a quarterback that can get the ball to Larry Fitzgerald. However, they still have offensive line woes. So even with Carson Palmer having a strong arm, will he remain healthy and upright will be the key to this game. St. Louis was able to compete with both the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers last season. So I think the Rams have continued to build in the draft and offseason and should surprise many and compete for a wild card spot this season. I have the Rams over the Cards, 28-16. Alright, division matchup with the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Alright, the Giants are going to travel to Dallas, and both teams are looking to come off disappointing seasons from last year, and both quarterbacks need to lessen their turnovers, and they both need their defenses to step it up and deliver more turnovers. Both teams have great wide receivers, and they shouldn't have any problem scoring in this game, but I believe the Cowboys have just a little more firepower and better defenders keep the Giants at bay in this one. Cowboys win 34-28. And another NFC East matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles heading out to the Washington Redskins for the first half of the doubleheader of a Monday night game. Now, this game has a storyline of the return of Robert Griffin III from his knee injury, as well as the Eagles' hiring of Chip Kelly and his super up-tempo offense, which figures to take advantage of opposing teams' fatiguing defenses. I think the NFC East is going to be a very close division this year, and all the teams will be looking to get a very early advantage. The Eagles still seem to be in a rebuild and are still kind of unsure of the quarterback situation. Michael Vick will be starting for week 1, but for how long remains to be seen. And I see the Redskins not opening the playbook, keeping RG3 not as mobile, and protection is key. But they have a lot of weapons, and I foresee the Redskins edging it out for a win, 24-21. And finally, the last match will be the Houston Texans taking on the San Diego Chargers. And the Texans have a very strong defense, and now they have the return of Brian Cushing from a season-ending injury last year. Now, of course, they have breakout star J.J. Watt to terrorize offensive lines. But the question remains, how effective will Arian Foster be from recovering from his injury? And the Chargers, meanwhile, have a good defense themselves, but their concerns are on offensive line, as they have had a revolving door of left tackles. And they did, however, I believe, find themselves a great right tackle. And unfortunately, the Chargers need to establish a run game, as they have just been passing and passing in Norv Turner's old system for too long. He's been predictable. And I think it will help out Phillip Rivers with a nice run game. It will keep the line protecting him, and with a clean pocket, should be able to use play action pass. But it will be up to the Chargers secondary to contain Andre Johnson if they have any chance of winning this game. However, I have the Houston Texans winning this game in a close one, 28-24. Alright, everyone, that is all for this week's prediction video. I appreciate everyone checking it out. Of course, you can comment with any feelings you have. If I got a game wrong, or if I snuffed your team, sure, tell me how you feel. I don't mind. I'm not perfect, but I try to get the best predictions I can out there. And like I said, next week I'll have some segments for you, and some fantasy football, play 'em or set 'em type thing. So thank you, and enjoy the opening week of the football season.